So it started out my sophomore year. We were compelled to volunteer in one of the shops for the Intro to Tech and Design class. And so I actually chose to work in the costume shop. At the time we were producing The Nether by Jennifer Haley, and I think that's who it's by. But we were producing The Nether, and so I ended up working on a couple different pieces and some shoes for that show. And so the next term we were doing Richard III, which was an enormous build for us, and so I ended up getting hired right at the beginning of that term, and then it was kind of a trial by fire my first term in the shop. It would just kind of be an eyesore on stage and draw a lot of attention because it's so bright. And in an ensemble-based show, we really don't want any of the characters pulling too much focus to their character with like such a bright costume. So we wanted something a little darker, and I think a burgundy really evokes the idea of a private school a little bit better than like fire truck red. So these are some of the costume plates that I did, which are kind of the first renderings, and that's how, as a costume designer, I communicate my ideas and my design to the director. These came out of my first kind of conversations with Liz. Early on, we had some early conversations about her approach to the play, how she was doing it, how she wanted the costumes to look, what her ideas for those were, and from there, then I went off into my research, into finding you find yourself looking through a lot of visuals, a lot of pictures. I spend a lot of time on Pinterest looking at different looks, and then from there you sort of synthesize the design that you want out of those. So with these, I was trying very much, so our approach to the Children's Hour, which was written in the 1930s, actually sets it in sort of a more modern school. So I was very interested in sort of evoking the 1930s and the school uniforms of the time, which you can kind of see especially in the pinafore, which I'm holding, as well as the inclusion of shorts in some of the designs. That's a very 1930s sort of schoolboy look. And so I wanted to sort of evoke the 1930s while not necessarily doing costumes that were specific to the 1930s. So something that kind of comes across as a timeless school uniform that sort of evokes that. I mean, it's the first design that I've been the principal designer on a show for, so it's definitely been a learning process for me. Just in terms of sort of the problem solving that goes into it. I'd seen it before from either a shop employee or an assistant designer's perspective, but having a lot of the sort of questions that are asked of the designer suddenly falling to me and being at sort of the top of the list for those questions can be kind of stressful. Having, lots of people asking, at once, what am I wearing? How do I wear this? All of that. We had one day that was everybody sort of had fittings near to, or like within the same half an hour of each other, and so there was a lot of sort of panicked tie-tying and asking how to wear things and things like that.